There are roughly 450 submarines in the world's oceans right now. They move in silence. They disappear for months. And when one of them fails, no one is coming for them in time.
These are 5 submarines that did not come back, and the men who rowed them down to the ocean floor. April 10, 1963, the USS Thresher, a nuclear attack submarine, America's fastest and most advanced, 279 feet long, 129 crew, testing deep dives off Cape Cod. At 9:15 a.m., the Thresher transmitted that it was having minor problems. The rescue ship Skylark was 1 mile above. 2 minutes later, a garbled message. Then the sound of hull collapse. The Thresher had imploded at 900 feet below her design depth.
She lay 8,400 feet down. The Navy took a year to find her. When they did, she was in 6 major pieces, scattered across half a mile of seafloor. It was the first American nuclear submarine lost.
The investigation blamed a failed saltwater pipe joint, a silver brazing weld that was not tested properly during construction. A single bad weld, 1 inch long, killed 129 men. May 22, 1968, the USS Scorpion, another American nuclear attack submarine, 99 crew, sailing from Rhodes, Spain, back to Norfolk, Virginia.
She went missing. No mayday, no emergency beacon, no wreckage for 5 months. The U.S. Navy searched the entire Atlantic. When they found her, she was on the bottom, 10,000 feet down, 400 miles southwest of the Azores. The cause was never fully established. Leading theories are a hot-running torpedo that detonated inside the tube, or a hydrogen battery explosion. The Scorpion's hull had collapsed as she sank below crush depth. 99 men, no bodies, no answers.
August 12, 2000, the Kursk, a Russian Oscar II-class nuclear submarine, 508 feet long, 2 reactors, 24 cruise missiles, 118 crew, participating in the largest Russian Navy exercise since the Soviet collapse. At 11:28 a.m., Norwegian seismographs recorded an underwater explosion. 2.5 minutes later, a second explosion, 100 times larger, equivalent to 3 tons of TNT. The Kursk had sunk in 350 feet of freezing Barents Sea. 23 men survived the initial explosions. They gathered in the stern compartment and wrote letters to their families. The Russian government refused Norwegian and British rescue offers for 5 days. By the time rescuers reached the hatch, all 23 were dead. They died of suffocation and hypothermia. A lieutenant named Dmitry Kolesnikov wrote the last letter, quote, "None of us can get to the surface. I am writing blind. I think there is no chance." 10 to 20. The Kursk was raised in 2001. All 118 men were eventually recovered. The cause was a faulty torpedo propellant, hydrogen peroxide, that exploded in its tube and triggered the detonation of 7 more torpedoes. 5 months after the Kursk sinking, a fisherman off the Chinese coast noticed something strange, a submarine surface buoy marker floating alone, no ship. Chinese authorities traced the buoy to Ming-class submarine number 361. She had been on a training exercise. She had not reported in for 3 weeks. When the Chinese Navy found her, she was on the surface, upright, intact. All 70 men on board were dead. The investigation determined that the submarine's diesel engine had malfunctioned and consumed all the oxygen inside the hull within minutes. The crew never had time to reach the snorkel valve. They died at their stations. November 15, 2017. The ARA San Juan, an Argentinian TR-1700 class submarine, 44 crew, on patrol in the South Atlantic, returning to base at Mar del Plata. At 7:30 a.m., the captain reported a hydrogen gas buildup caused by water entering a battery bank. He was ordered to surface and return to port. 15 minutes later, the submarine's own sensors detected a violent implosion. 44 dead. The wreck was found a year later at 2,900 feet. She had collapsed into pieces. An American private company, Ocean Infinity, used a sonar grid to find her, after Argentina's Navy failed to do so. The families still ask for full accountability.
Look at the pattern. A bad weld, a hot running torpedo, a faulty propellant, a diesel engine, a water leak. Every submarine that was lost was killed by a component smaller than a human hand.
Submarine design is about redundancy. Every system has a backup. Every pipe has a valve. Every power source has a reserve. But when the primary fails at depth, the redundancies only buy time, and time at crush depth is measured in seconds. There are 48 nations operating submarines today. The newest nuclear submarines can dive 1,600 feet. Recreational rebreather submersibles can go even deeper. And every one of them sits 3 seconds from a life-ending event that no one on the surface can stop.
Somewhere under the ocean tonight, 80 men are inside a steel tube 1,200 feet down. They cannot open a door. They cannot call home. They are trusting a system designed 60 years ago with parts built by someone they will never meet.
The ocean is the closest thing Earth has to space. Submariners are the only humans who live inside it voluntarily. And when one of those steel tubes stops transmitting, we cry for them the way astronauts cry for their own, but louder, because they chose the deeper silence. Subscribe to SALT Files.